Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first press conference of 2003. Services. Now, people can have their own view of the British intelligence services, but we've made it clear throughout that we want to take the UN route. That's why we went to the UN. That's why the UN passed its resolution calling upon Saddam to disarm. We then also said that if there is a breach, there will be a further discussion in the UN. But I want to make it quite clear, and I believe this to be the position of all the main Security Council members. If there is a breach, we would expect the United Nations to honor the undertakings that were given and to make sure that the will of the UN is upheld. And I've no doubt at all that they will do so. And so when people say to us, are we clear that we have a justifiable basis for action? If there is a breach of the existing UN resolution, I have no doubt at all that the right thing to do in those circumstances is to disarm Saddam by force. Adam. With weapons of mass destruction. That's exactly what I'm saying. But the fact is, it has come to an absolute key focal point over Iraq. And the question actually is not really for me, do you agree that but there is a direct threat to British national security in the trade in chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons. And I tell you honestly what my fear is. My fear is that we wake up one day and we find either that one of these dictatorial states has used weapons of mass destruction, and Iraq has done so in the past, and we get sucked into a conflict with all the devastation that would cause, or alternatively, these weapons, which are being traded right round the world at the moment, fall into hands of these terrorist groups, these fanatics who will stop at absolutely nothing to cause death and destruction on a mass scale. Now, a fresh UN resolution just passed a few weeks ago demanding that he disarm. And therefore, the signal we would send, not just to Iraq, but actually to North Korea as well, if we do not enforce, we should take North Korea seriously. Now, in the last few weeks, as you know, there's been a series of announcements out of North Korea that are deeply worrying. And that's why the UN Security Council will be discussing this issue. How we deal with it? Well, we have to look and see how we deal with it. But the difference with Saddam is there are outstanding United Nations resolutions going back over 10 years requiring Saddam to disarm. And we now have a fresh UN resolution just passed a few weeks ago demanding that he disarm. And therefore, the signal we would send, not just to Iraq, but actually to North Korea as well, if we do not enforce that resolution, would, in my view, be dire. First of all, I think we should just, I didn't actually say an answer to Nick, but I think what's quite interesting, if we read very much indeed,